All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining me here for this Fresh Finds class. My name is Charlotte Scheid. I'm one of the Giant Company dietitians. So for the month of January, we are focusing all on power sips. So in this power sips class series, we want to provide simple, nutrient-packed beverage ideas for the new year, so you can fuel your body and then sharpen your focus and have beverages for overall well-being. So that's our focus for power sips. And today we're going to be focusing on smoothies, which I think smoothies are really appropriate, especially for the new year, with weight management, weight loss, and just overall health. So we're going to be focusing on that today. So that brings me to my first poll question. So I want to hear from all of you if you currently make smoothies. So go ahead and answer that. So the questions, do you make smoothies? So I will say smoothies are one of my favorite breakfast ideas just because they can be quick and simple and definitely a lot of nutrition in them. All right, so give everybody a couple seconds to answer that. All right, so let's go ahead and end the poll and I'll share the results. So it looks like so almost half and half. So some of you do and some of you don't. So hopefully for those of you who do not make smoothies, I will inspire you to do so today because they can be a really nice way or a lot of benefits. So we'll go over that in just a little bit. So thanks everybody for answering that question. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the benefits of a power sip smoothie. So there's a variety of different benefits for a power sip smoothie. So the one being, so I mentioned about weight management and weight loss. So it could be a great thing to incorporate for weight management and also blood sugar balance. It so help if you build it the right way, it helps you to feel full and satisfied. Also helps with sustained energy. I know I always appreciate that, especially like in the afternoon. Sometimes I'll make a smoothie because it helps with that afternoon slump. So when it has protein and fiber, it will definitely help with that sustained energy. Also, it's a very easy way to get in fruits and vegetables. As Americans, we tend to fall short on fruits and vegetables, so this can be a very easy and delicious way to kind of incorporate the fruits and vegetables. It can really help to benefit our brain and mood support if we add in a lot of different foods with omega-3s, and also helps to support immunity, which I know I always appreciate this time of year. I always want to make sure my immune system is strong. So why make a smoothie? So first of all, because we always talk about, balance, you can really create a balanced smoothie with protein and fiber, fruits and vegetables, even grains. Sometimes smoothies have oats in them, which seems to be kind of popular not this time of year, but just more popular in the recent years. Smoothies can be affordable, so I know we always do this in our house. You can use up ingredients that need to be used, like ripe bananas, or maybe you have spinach in the refrigerator that's maybe a little bit wilted or whatnot. You can always add it into a smoothie. Smoothies can be quick and easy, which I always appreciate with young kids. Always want something that's quick and easy, but of course balanced and is providing the nutrition that I want. And can be customizable, which is important too, because sometimes in families we have family members that want certain types of things, so you can always customize it, which is nice. So a lot of different reasons to make a smoothie and a lot of different benefits for it, especially this time of year. So let's talk a little bit about how to build a smoothie. So maybe if you are building a smoothie, you already have kind of a common recipe that you use or common ingredients. But normally when I think about building a smoothie, I kind of think about these areas and building upon them. So first we want to start with a liquid base, then add in our fruits and vegetables, add in a protein, some healthy fats, and then some boosters, which we'll talk a little bit about in a couple slides. So the first one, let's talk a little bit about a liquid base. So I know for myself when or making a smoothie, I tend to usually put in some type of dairy milk just because it's adding in, more protein, but you can use any of these options. So you can first start with an unsweetened almond or soy milk. So soy milk will have somewhat of a similar protein to dairy milk. Almond milk, maybe not as much protein, but if you're already putting in, a good amount of protein, kind of in a later step, that's okay. And we're going to be using unsweetened almond milk in today's recipes, but unsweetened almond or soy milk, it can be, usually you want it to be unsweetened, so we're not adding in a lot of that added sugar. But you can get vanilla unsweetened soy milk, which the vanilla adds some nice flavor. And you can do a low-fat dairy milk. excuse me. You can do coconut milk, brewed green tea, which we have our Nature's Promise unsweetened green tea, which if you're looking for maybe like a little bit of a caffeine kick, you can always put that in, or just some water and juice as well, you can do. So those are some ideas for a liquid base, and usually want to aim for about a cup. So our next one, so I had mentioned about us not getting in enough fruits and vegetables, which I think we can all relate to. Sometimes that can be really hard to get throughout the day. But of course, if you make a smoothie in the morning, this can be an easy way to get fruit and vegetables in. So you can either use fresh, you can use frozen, which sometimes if you use frozen, it already, you don't really have to put as much ice in. You can use frozen or you can use canned fruit. In 100% juice. So we want to aim for about 1 or 2 cups, and you can really kind of play around with it depending on what texture you like, if you like it to be thicker, thinner, or whatnot. So again, aim for 1 or 2 cups. So this can be things like mango, can be strawberries, or spinach. So we'll be using spinach in today's recipe. You can use cucumber, which we'll also be using cucumber. So cucumber has a really nice flavor, but also provides even more of that, water base, and also blueberries as well. So the benefits with adding fruits and vegetables, which I'm sure is no surprise to anybody, but it helps to add that fiber. Well, sometimes as Americans, we tend to fall short of fiber. So this is really important for our gut health and to feed that healthy bacteria in the gut. And of course, also provides the vitamins and minerals that we want for immune support in our immune system. So that is our next layer. So a liquid base, then fruit and vegetables. And then we're going to add in a protein. So of course, protein is important for a lot of different reasons, but we always want to make sure when we're thinking about balance to add in some type of protein. So here are some protein options or products that we can add. So you can of course add in Greek yogurt. So we have plain Greek yogurt. You can do a vanilla. You can also add in some cottage cheese. Cottage cheese just seems to be really popular in a variety of different ways, not just smoothies, but adding it into like scrambled eggs or on top of toast. Very popular right now, but you can definitely add it into a smoothie. You can put in some protein powder if you want. You can also use silken tofu. So I don't know if anybody has used silken tofu before, but it has a really nice texture to it. But when you add it into a smoothie, it makes for a really nice creaminess to the smoothie. I've used that quite often, but the silken tofu is a really good one. And then peanut butter or almond butter, which also counts as kind of a healthy fat, but you can also add it in as a protein option, normally like a couple tablespoons or whatever that you would like. But those are some protein options. And then, of course, benefits helps to keep us fuller longer. It helps to prevent a blood sugar dip 1 hour later. Because if you're making a smoothie without the protein, if you're just doing maybe a liquid base and just some fruit, probably will have still will have the fiber in it, but maybe not as much protein. So it helps to prevent that blood sugar dip 1 hour later. And again, helps with our immune system because protein helps to make the antibodies that we, want our body to make to help to prevent sickness. So liquid base, fruit and vegetables, and then protein. So next, let's talk a little bit about healthy fats. Healthy fats are always, of course, a good thing to have into our diets. So healthy fats also help to keep you fuller longer. So these can be things like chia seeds or flax seeds, which also have those omega-3s in them, which are really important for brain health. Nut butters, so this can be peanut butter or almond butter. Even like sunflower seed butter would be a seed butter, but that could be another one. And then avocado. I don't know if anybody has ever used avocado into a smoothie, but that also adds a really nice creaminess kind of texture and really helps to get those healthy fats that you want. And that will definitely help you to feel fuller longer throughout the day and to prevent those blood sugar dips. But these help to, well, we know that healthy fats help us in a variety of different ways, but definitely a lot of research with our mood. So definitely less maybe depression and anxiety. So especially with this time of year, maybe the sun's not out so much. We always want to make sure that we keep our mood, happy, where we feel good. And also is also beneficial for heart health as well. So a lot of different reasons to include those healthy fats. So liquid base, fruit and vegetables, protein, and then healthy fats. And then I also wanted to include some boosters. So I just have 2 examples here, but I had mentioned about oats before. So there's a lot of different recipes that include oats. So oats are going to help with adding in some fiber. But also, I know there's been some questions too about if oats, if it has like a weird consistency or if you can like taste it. And I put in oats in a few different recipes with smoothies, and I don't think it's too noticeable as what you might think. But oats could definitely be an ingredient. And then you can also add a lot of different flavors to it. Of course, you can add in, honey or maple syrup. You don't, I mean, if you just want like maybe a little bit of sweetness, but you can also add in a lot of different spices. So ground cinnamon, or you can do ground ginger. We're going to be adding in some fresh ginger into our smoothie today, but you can also think about some boosters of maybe ways to make it even more flavorful. But definitely, I think with the fruits will help with, adding in that sweetness, especially if they're like overly ripe bananas. All right, so these are some smoothie recipes that are in our Savory Recipe Center database. So this is our most recent edition. So these smoothies aren't necessarily in this edition, but you can always view them on the Savory Recipe Center, um, the website. You can always look it up. A lot of great recipes are on that website. It's, not just smoothies, but meals, snacks, and that type of thing. All right, so our first one is an oatmeal and berry smoothie. So this recipe gets 2 guiding stars. So guiding stars is our nutritional navigation program. So the more stars that something has, the more nutritionally beneficial it is. So more vitamins, minerals, healthy fats, fiber, and less of the stuff that we do not want as much of, like added sugar. So for this recipe, it has 7 grams of fiber, 16 grams of protein. So all this is in a blender. You're just putting in some non-fat plain Greek yogurt, which is helping you to get that protein that you want. You're adding in some rolled oats, a ripe banana, which will help to add sweetness, frozen mixed berries, which helps with the texture of it being frozen. You can do skim milk or you can do whatever milk that you would like. I'm adding in a little bit of honey to add a little bit more sweetness and then some vanilla extract. So that's a wonderful and quick smoothie recipe, really good for the morning, but has some good protein and fiber in it, which will help you to feel fuller longer and stay satisfied. So our next one that I wanted to include is a peach and banana smoothie pack. So this gets 1 guiding star, but I wanted to mention this one is because the smoothie packs, so for this recipe, you're putting in the ingredients, not all the ingredients, but the peach, banana, rolled oats, you're putting into a smoothie pack and putting into the freezer. So some of those ingredients are already measured out. So then you can pull it out in the morning, put it in your blender, and then add in your other ingredients. So just kind of taking away some steps to make it even simpler to make a smoothie. So then you would add in your milk, your yogurt, and some honey as well. But for this recipe, you can get 14 grams of protein and 7 grams of fiber. There's also some smoothie recipes on Savory where you can make smoothie blocks that you freeze. So the smoothie blocks you would take out and then just put in the blender, which so makes it pretty easy to make a smoothie. And then I wanted to include this one too. And I know pumpkin spice season is out, but you can of course include pumpkin any time of the year. And I think this is such a great and delicious recipe that I always like. I always like to make. But it gets 3 guiding stars. You're going to be adding in some Greek vanilla yogurt, some pure pumpkin, some rolled oats, banana, low-fat milk, or whatever milk that you would like, some vanilla extract, and then pumpkin pie spice. So this one has almost 6 grams of fiber, almost 7 grams of protein. So I think, yeah, I always like this recipe. So I just wanted to mention it because we're not in pumpkin season, but I think you can make it any time of year. So this one gets 3 guiding stars, so a lot of great nutrition in it. All right, so this is our featured recipe, super colorful, a lot of great stuff going on in it. So this is a tropical green smoothie bowl. So you don't have to create the bowl, you can just drink it, as it is. But if you want to create the bowl, you can do that as well. So we'll be doing those. We'll be creating a bowl at the end so you can see what that looks like. But you can of course just drink it with the top ingredients. Okay, so this is our tropical green smoothie bowl. It gets 3 guiding stars. So our ingredients, we're going to be putting in our blender. So putting in my blender some fresh spinach. So we have our Salad Basics baby spinach that's already pre-washed. So I always like that. Also going to be putting in, you can put in either 1 cup of frozen pineapple or mango. We're going to be doing pineapple, which is a great source of vitamin C. Also non-fat Greek yogurt. some chopped cucumber. So I already have peeled my cucumber. I'm just going to chop it down. So you want about a half of a cup. You can also put in celery if you would like. So the recipe is cucumber and or celery, but I'm just going to do cucumber today. We're going to be putting in some unsweetened almond milk, some grated ginger, which I have my ginger right here, which smells super delicious. A lot of great nutritional benefits with that. Um, and just, I don't know, I might put in ice. I'm not sure yet because we have the frozen pineapple. But those are our ingredients that are going to go in our blender. But for our toppings for our smoothie bowl, we're going to be putting in some, not putting in, putting on top as a topping some protein granola, some mixed berries. I have raspberries and blueberries right here. We're going to be putting on some unsweetened flake coconut, which adds some nice flavor, and then some chia seeds, which adds those omega threes that we want. So for this recipe, it's about 15 grams of protein, 9 grams of fiber. All right, so this is kind of just what we went over. So we're just putting this in our in the blender. All right. So let me stop sharing my screen and we will get started with our tropical green smoothie bowl. All right, one moment. Okay. All right, so let's get started. So first I'm going to add in 1 cup of our spinach. This is our Salad Basics spinach. So I have my measuring cup over here. So I'm just going to pack this down. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put it that in. So I'm going kind of out of order with this one because I know I said like the liquid base, but we're still adding in all of our stuff. But so I added in my spinach. I'm going to add in 1 cup of frozen pineapple. So this is our frozen pineapple. So this will add for nice, kind of like that frozen kind of creaminess that we want. So we have our pineapple chunks. So we're gonna do 1 cup. Oops. Great, so 1 cup of pineapples. This will also help with the sweetness. That we're gonna add 3/4 cup. So I have our non-fat plain Greek yogurt. So for 3/4 of a cup, this gives us 16 grams of protein, which is nice. All right, so let me grab a spoon. So we're gonna do 3/4 of a cup. So this is our protein going into our smoothie. Okay, so 3/4 of a cup. All right, go ahead and put this over here. All right, we're going to do a half cup of our cucumbers. So you can see I have already peeled this. So we're just going to chop this down. I thought I had my knife out here. Let me just go and grab my knife. All right. So you don't have to cut it in any certain shape. We're just going to cut it down like that. So this should be about, let me just measure this. This should be about a half of a cup. So the cucumber adds some nice flavor. And again, some more, what am I trying to say? A little bit more hydration, water. So I'm gonna do a half cup of cucumber. We're also going to do a half cup of our almond milk. So I have our unsweetened original almond milk right here. So let's do a half of a cup. I'm gonna put this in. And we're also going to grate our ginger. So I don't know if anybody has used ginger in a smoothie recipe. It smells so good. So I already took the outer layer off. So we're just going to kind of zest it down to about 1 teaspoon. See if I can. You don't necessarily have to zest it either. You could just kind of chop it up and blend it. All right. So you can see here, this kind of looks a little mushy, but that's okay because it's going into the smoothie. Just take this, it's about a teaspoon and a half, and kind of put it in here. And I'm just going to grab, I think I'm going to put in just like 2 or 3 ice cubes. All right. So I'm going to mute myself, but while this is blending, I want you to answer another poll question. So let me go ahead and pull that up while I am um, blending this. All right. So the question is, what do you add into your smoothies if you do make smoothies? So go ahead and answer that. I'm just going to mute myself a second. All right, so it looks like my smoothie is looking good. So let me go ahead and end the poll. Let's share the results. All right, so it looks like some of you do the fruit only, but then some add the protein, then fruit, vegetables, and protein. And then I'm impressed. So fruit, vegetables, protein, and healthy fats. So it looks like for those of you who already do that, you already have a head start. So for those of you who only maybe do fruit only, maybe consider, maybe adding protein, vegetables, and then some healthy fats. Is always a good idea. All right. Thank you for answering that. All right. So it looks like my smoothie, tropical green smoothie, is looking pretty good. Just make sure this is all. Yep, it looks like it is blended pretty well. All right. So I'm going to put some of this into a bowl. So I have right here, and then I'm going to put the other in a glass. This is a nice green color. Let me go and grab just go grab a cup. All right, so I'm gonna put this in. So you can see that was not too hard to make, but a lot of great nutrition in it. All right, so you can see here, so this is my tropical green smoothie right here. So I'm gonna set this to the side and let me show you some ideas if you wanna make the tropical green smoothie bowl. So you can do either one. So if you do the bowl, it's just adding in a little bit more, even more fiber, nutrition, vitamins, minerals. So if you want, you can add in some raspberries. So we'll just add this on the side. So raspberries, blueberries, giving you some nice antioxidants. And you can add in some, so I have some chia seeds right here. I don't know if anybody has used chia seeds kind of in a smoothie, but you can add these in. Just add those. And then we'll add in some protein granola. So you can see right here, so protein, so for 2/3 of a cup gives you about 8 grams of protein. So I don't know if we'll use 2/3 of a cup, but this hopefully gives some nice fiber too. So you can add in some granola, and then we'll also add in some of the unsweetened flake coconut. So we just have our Nature's Promise brand. We're just adding some of this. So again, you can either do just a smoothie itself, or you can create a fun bowl as well. So just gives you a little bit more. You can see that or not. I don't want to dump it, but and I'll take a picture of that to send out to everybody. So that's our tropical green smoothie recipe. So super delicious, very easy to make. And again, you can either just drink it or make a bowl with it. So let me share my screen again before we do the Q&A. Because I just want to mention some of our upcoming classes. So for tomorrow, Joni's going to be doing blue zones. So that is tomorrow on Thursday. Jen and Sheena are going to be doing a coffee chat class on kombucha day, and then no class on Friday. All right, so with that, I'm going to stop recording. We'll get to the Q&A. All right, so thank you. Take care.